What is going on, guys? Let's talk about boxing. Let's talk about this anticipated fight that we've been hearing for the very long time. We can't wait for this fight, September 13th, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. By this time, we heard everything. We pretty much have heard a lot about this shit. Canelo's gonna do this. Canelo's gonna knock out Crawford. Canelo's gonna walk down Crawford. Crawford's gonna knock out Canelo. Crawford's gonna school Canelo. Pretty much everything at this point. Today, I'm going to give you guys some questions. I'm going to give you my thoughts on those questions. You guys, write in the comment section. Let me know about what you think about these questions. Give you the number of the question. So let's just go dive right into it. And then I'm going to give my prediction, my final prediction for this fight. So number one is Canelo Alvarez too big for Terence Crawford? Now let me give you my thoughts. Like I said, you guys can give me your thoughts in the comment section. I personally think that Canelo Alvarez is not too big for Terence Crawford. And that's the reason why Team Crawford is taking this fight. Is because they know where Canelo Alvarez started. On the side of a big money grab. On the side that this is a big money fight. They know that Canelo Alvarez is not a big guy. He's not a big dude for 168 pounds. And let me break it down to you a little bit more. Bomac, in an interview, I think it was Ring Magazine, he said, they asked him, what do you think about, Canelo's size, being the bigger guy? He said, he's not the bigger guy. He's not the bigger guy. He also said, Terence Crawford should have been at 168 a long time ago. So what does that tell you guys? That tells you that Terence Crawford is not small. That Terence Crawford has been fighting smaller men, but he should have been at 168, and that's the reason why he's taking this fight, besides the money. So I personally don't think, and I agree with Bomac, that Terence Crawford is not small for Canelo. Now let's go with number two. Has Crawford been weight bullying them, if this is what Bomac is saying? In my own personal thoughts, I think yes. I think he has been weight bullying. If Bomac is saying that he's supposed to be at 168 a long time ago, that means that he's just been cutting down to the weight to fight the smaller guys that he knows he could beat. But check this out. When he went to 154, he had a tough fight. He was bigger than Madrimov. Madrimov was the smaller guy. That's why this whole thing about people talking this shit about the impossible become possible, the smaller man beating the bigger man, is bullshit. Crawford has never been a small dude. You guys have to understand that. Especially for Canelo. He might look smaller against like someone like Edgar Berlanga, Jaime Munguia, Caleb Plant and stuff like that. Because Canelo Alvarez, like I said, Canelo Alvarez has started his career at the lower weight classes, and he's been going up in weight, exactly what Terence Crawford is aiming to do now, later on in his career. So, what does that say? That says that Canelo Alvarez has been fighting bigger guys, right? If Crawford, if Bomac is saying that Crawford should have been at 168 a long time ago. Maybe he's just saying this just to say it, you know what I mean, to give you guys hope, to give you, to hype up the fight more. But I do believe him. I do believe him that Crawford should have been at 168 a long time ago, because he's not small. So yes, I do think that he has been weight bullying. The thing here is that if he has been weight bullying, he has been rocked and stunned and dropped that wasn't counted by weight bullying. So let that sink in. But let's go to number three. Crawford. Does Crawford fight like Jermell Charlo, or is he better than Jermell Charlo? I don't think Crawford fights like Jermell Charlo. I think Crawford is, he's a savage dude. I think that when he gets hit, he gets more motivated, and then he tries to come and get you. You know what I mean? He's a switch hitter. His skills are a little bit different. but I wouldn't say that he is better than Jermell Charlo. And let me explain to you guys why. I think a lot of people have forgotten that Jermell Charlo was a 154-pound undisputed champion at 154 pounds. I think most people have literally forgot about that. And they say that, you know, Crawford is above Jermell Charlo, but he's never fought Jermell Charlo. We don't know this. We know Terence Crawford's thoughts of when Jermell Charlo fought Canelo, that, you know, Jermell Charlo didn't do anything. He didn't come to fight. So pretty much Terence Crawford is saying that he is going to come to fight against Canelo, and he's not going to lay down like Jermell Charlo. But that still does not make him better than Jermell Charlo, because he's never fought Jermell Charlo. Also, the thing that tells me that he's not better than Jermell Charlo is because he had a very, very close fight at 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov, a guy that has 10 fights in his career. Yes, he has a big amateur background, but you guys have to also understand that he got a vacant title. He fought a champion that got a vacant title. He didn't earn that title. It was a vacant title. See what I'm saying? Let that sink in, guys. And we're talking about the undisputed champion at 154, Jermell Charlo. So let's go on to the next one. Who has more experience in the ring and has a better resume in boxing, Canelo or Crawford? I will have to say Canelo Alvarez has more experience in the ring. He has more fights in the ring. He's fought more world champions. He's going on his, if I'm not mistaken, he's going on his 28th world title. That's more than any other active champion in boxing. Naoya Inoue being number 2. And as far as resume, the reason why I say Canelo Alvarez has a better resume is because of all the weight classes that he's fought since he started his career. And he fought the number 1 guys. And also, you know, I got to add his losses as well, because these guys were the elite of the elite in their weight classes. You know, he fought Floyd Mayweather. He lost to Floyd Mayweather, but still Floyd Mayweather was TBE, right? The best ever. He fought Triple G 3 fights. You know, he fought Triple G when Triple G was the first fight, second fight, he was a threat. You know what I mean? He was the best, the number 160 pounder. He fought bigger guys, right? He went on an undisputed run. He didn't just wait for one guy to collect all the belts at 168 and then fight that guy and take all his belts. No, he went on an undisputed run at 168 and beat every world champion in their prime and gave him their first loss. He went up in weight. He fought Kovalev, then he fought Bivol. He lost to Bivol, but you know, Bivol was an elite fighter. I mean, he's the undisputed champ at 175, so that's self-explanatory. So even with his wins and losses, he has fought the better fighters, and he does have the most experience. So I'm going to have to give it to Canelo on that one. Terence Crawford, his biggest fight, for all people that know, is Errol Spence. Now, Errol Spence, he did most of the legwork at 147. It wasn't Terence Crawford, it was Errol Spence. By the time Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence, he couldn't make 147 anymore. And let me dive more into that, because some of you people don't even know this. Let me just dive more into this shit. Errol Spence, I knew that Terence Crawford was going to win that fight. I had no doubt in my mind. But let me tell you why this fight should have happened at 154. Errol Spence had been wanting this fight with Terence Crawford for the longest time. Now, Terence Crawford was having problems with top rank. He's saying he wasn't getting promoted right, but then made the decision to re-sign with Top Rank. And also, he took the Avanesian fight. You know, this is Crawford. He fights once a year, right? He took the Avanesian fight, and he won that fight. I don't want to go into details about, you know, this whole glove situation, because we already know. true boxing fans already know. But he beat Avanesian in Nebraska, right? Omaha, Nebraska. And Errol Spence was tweeting. I remember this. I remember Errol Spence was tweeting and saying, I will never wait for another man like this ever in my life. Because he said, I cannot make the weight anymore. I cannot make 147. So I'm not even gonna go based on the fact that Errol Spence, wasn't the same fighter as far as like, the car crash, and then he had that, a problem with his eye and stuff like that. I'm just going based also as far as weight, and I don't know why that fight never happened at 154. I don't know why there wasn't a rematch at 154. I would have loved to see that fight at 154 since the beginning, but it did not happen. But Errol Spence was telling us already that it was really hard for him to struggle and make 150 and make 147, and that's the truth. But still, Terence Crawford displayed his skills, displayed that he was levels above Errol Spence, and it is what it is. Now let's go to our next question. Who is the fresher fighter? I will have to say that Terence Crawford is the fresher fighter. Terence Crawford has less wars in his resume. Terence Crawford only fights once a year. He has less fights in his career. Like I just told you guys, Canelo Alvarez is entering his 28th world title. So he might be the older fighter as far as age, but he is the more fresher fighter. And even Floyd Mayweather said in one interview, he said that wear and tear is a big thing, and he thinks that Canelo Alvarez has that. I mean, just look at the NBA players, like Kobe Bryant when he came into the league, and he came in straight up from high school, and he put a lot of miles into his body, the way he was playing, his type of shots, his fadeaways, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden he started having problems with his shoulders. He had a torn Achilles, you know what I mean? But he gave it his all, but he had a lot of wear and tear in his body. That's just an example. So yes, I do think that Terence Crawford is the fresher fighter here. This question is, who has the better skills and IQ? This is up for debate. A lot of people would say that Terence Crawford has the better skills, better IQ. Some people would say that Canelo Alvarez has the better skills, better IQ. But and they're gonna go based the fact that Canelo Alvarez has lost twice, so that gives, and Crawford is undefeated, so that gives Crawford the better skills and better IQ, right? But check this out. This is where I have to pause on that one, is because you also gotta go based on the opposition of fighters they fought. You see what I'm saying? Will Terence Crawford defeat somebody like Floyd Mayweather? So you gotta take that into consideration. Who will win in a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford if they were to fight? See what I mean? Some people will say Floyd Mayweather will win. Some people will say Terence Crawford will win. We don't know. Who will win between a fight between Dimitri Bivol and Terence Crawford? You see what I'm saying? We got to take all these things into consideration about the opposition. Who will win in a fight between Triple G and Terence Crawford? See what I mean? Let's talk about number 7. Who has the better footwork? Now that one's easy. I think Terence Crawford has the better footwork. He knows how to move around the ring better. He's more slick, and he is faster with his feet. Now, this is where I have to include this other thing, is that Canelo Alvarez has never been fast on his feet, but he is fast from his waist up. He's very slick from his waist up. And there's not a lot of fighters that were very good like that. The one that was very good in the heavyweight division, that was very slick with his upper body, was Mike Tyson. Do you guys remember that? You guys remember how slick he was with his waist, with his upper body, and then he would just like bam, throw this like crazy hook, crazy punch, and then just knock out the bigger, taller guy, right? So yeah, I'm gonna have to say that Crawford has the better footwork, but we could say that Canelo Alvarez has the better hip work. Who is a better defensive fighter? He does get hit. I also think Crawford gets hit, but like I said, I've seen Crawford get rocked. I've seen Canelo Alvarez get hit and take it. I mean, he just takes it. You know what I mean? Canelo has that, that high guard. He knows how to display it pretty well. His head movement is pretty good, pretty solid. We haven't seen Canelo Alvarez with that same elite defensive skills that he displayed with Danny Jacobs or other fighters, or like Austin Trout, where he was making people miss a lot. So at this point of their career, defensively, I would have to go maybe 50-50. Unless Canelo Alvarez just comes in and it's like vintage Canelo, then I will have to give him the edge on that one. But for now, I will have to call it a 50-50 based on where they're at in their career. Now let's go on to the next one. Who has the better chin? Obviously, Canelo Alvarez has the better chin than Terence Crawford. We've seen Terence Crawford get hurt by Gamboa. We've seen Terence Crawford get dropped by Mean Machine. That wasn't counted. So we've seen Terence Crawford get hurt. Has he been hurt lately in his career? I haven't seen Crawford get hurt though. So, it's a big question. Have we seen Canelo Alvarez take huge punches by big punchers in his career? Absolutely. The only time I've seen Canelo Alvarez get hurt was when he was 19 years old, when he fought Miguel Cotto's brother. That's the only time that I've seen Canelo Alvarez get rocked, and he was very, very young. Since that, I've seen him get hit flush and really hard by Triple G, but he just stood his ground. I've seen him get hit really hard by Daniel Jacobs, and he's not even fazed by it. So I would have to give the edge on this one on Canelo Alvarez having the better chin. Now let's go with this one. This is a really good question. Who is hungrier for this fight? So we've seen Roy Jones Jr. said that Crawford is more hungrier for this fight than Canelo Alvarez, that Canelo Alvarez has to show him that he wants this fight. The reason why is because he's saying that Terence Crawford, he's going up in weight. He wants to challenge himself, and he's very super motivated. He wants to show that, all the doubters about his resume and stuff like that, and this is why he's a hungrier fighter. And that Canelo Alvarez has just been taking easy fights, so that he has to show him that he's hungry. We also have to take in consideration that Canelo Alvarez is hungrier for this fight as well. I mean, he just brought Boots Ennis to his sparring camp. That means that he's taking this fight seriously. But I also think that he's hungry for this fight because, this is a big loss for Canelo Alvarez. This would, in a lot of people's eyes, this would really taint his legacy, because he is, in many people's eyes, he's the bigger fighter. He's the 168-pound undisputed champion, and to have a guy coming from 154 to 168 to fight him and dethrone him is just a big upset. You know what I mean? So that's why there's a lot on the line for Canelo Alvarez to lose on this fight. Another thing is with Terence Crawford, he was daring to be great. If he loses, he goes back to 154, and maybe he retires. I don't know what his deal is, but maybe he goes back to 54 and try to have some good fights there, maybe with Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz. Jamel Charlo is coming back. He's hungry to come back and make good fights as well. So maybe we'll finally see that fight with Jamel Charlo and see who's actually really good. But I would have to say both of these guys are hungry in their own way for this fight, September 13th. And last but not least, my final prediction for this fight. I'm going to have to say I'm going to go with Canelo Alvarez on this fight. Canelo Alvarez has a lot to prove, a lot of risk here. You know, it's a big threat for his career to lose to somebody like Terence Crawford. I truly think that Canelo Alvarez should get 100% credit if he beats Terence Crawford, because, you know, a lot of commentators, a lot of athletes, a lot of people of the sport of boxing, a lot of you know, retired boxers, Hall of Famers, everything, they're saying that Crawford is going to beat Canelo Alvarez. A lot of fans are saying that, you know, Crawford is going to beat Canelo Alvarez. So yes, I do 100% agree, zero excuses, that if Canelo Alvarez wins, he should get 100% credit, and he should be elevated in the pound for pound list if he beats Terence Crawford, and vice versa. Obviously, at this point, we know, because Terence Crawford is going up in weight, and if he beats Canelo Alvarez, well, you know, he just becomes the first male to become 3-time undisputed in boxing. So that just says it all. But I just think that for this fight, specific fight, I think that I'm gonna go with Canelo, and I'm gonna go with Canelo even by stoppage. I know a lot of people say that, you know, Canelo Alvarez hasn't stopped somebody in a long time, but if they go to war, man, if they go to war, if they trade with each other, someone's getting knocked out. So I don't know, like, and then you know, Crawford said, you know, anybody could be knocked out. So what if Crawford knocks out Canelo Alvarez, right? So on my betting odds, this is what I did, and this is no financial advice. This is just me personally. I put $100 on Terence Crawford to knock out Canelo Alvarez, and I put $500 on Canelo Alvarez to knock out Terence Crawford. Those are my betting odds, and I also have a money line, just a straight line of who wins this fight between Canelo Alvarez and Crawford. I'm rocking with Canelo Alvarez, but I did put a $100 bet on Crawford to knock out Canelo Alvarez, you know, because that, just in case that's like something unexpectedly shocker, random, you know, and that's a big money grab. If he was to do something like that, it's gonna be a hell of a fight. And, you know, respect to Crawford if he goes out like that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna talk shit, you know. It's just gonna be like, wow, he just went for it. At least he didn't lay down like Jermell Charlo, right? So or William Skull, that he just came to run, or things like that, right? So we'll see what type of fight we get. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who do you guys got? I'm going with Canelo, but I will give my respects to Terence Crawford if he pulls it off. And with that being said, we'll catch up on the next one. Peace.